Does your onboarding program prepare customers to renew or just to begin? Most companies design customer onboarding to get their customers live on their products. Onboarding's done, we've gone live, they can log in. But the problem is go live or logins aren't the finish line. They're simply the first milestone along the customer journey. And while you track initial time to value, you track how long onboarding takes, but does any of it matter? What if onboarding was designed to lead into renewal and customer expansion and growth from day one? So you reverse engineer the renewal to understand the key factors that need to be delivered during the first 30 to 60 to 90 days. Now, every company has key indicators that forecast renewal and expansion likelihood, such as active product usage or active users, adoption of core features that lead to ROI, achievement of specific outcomes or milestones, and an executive engagement and perceived value. So what you do is you map backwards. You take each renewal driver and you ask yourself, well, what needs to happen in those first 10, 30, 60, 90 days to make this true? So for example, if renewal depends on measurable ROI, then how can you build an early quick win or a metric that's going to align and lead to that and bake that into the success plan during onboarding? What if you need to renew a certain number of active users or seats? Then what percentage need to be live and adopting the product in the first 90 days? For core features, how can you shorten the time that customers get to using those during onboarding? And if renewal depends on executive alignment, then you better make sure those executives are involved during onboarding, that you don't just let them disengage. So you need to turn these onboarding milestones into key metrics that teams can track. Now, for example, I worked with a company in the UK, a fintech solution, and we found that when customers moved off their legacy solution, often just a spreadsheet, they were more likely to renew. So we don't want to sit around and hope and wait for them to go off of that legacy system. We want to bake that into onboarding. We want to bake that into their expectations so that in the first 60 to 90 days, they're making progress toward it. And within 6 to 9 months, they are off their legacy solution. Another company I worked with in Australia, they provide software for amusement parks. And so they find that when their customers use the digital waiver tool, so people kind of sign their digital waivers on an iPad, that the customers are much more loyal and sticky. So we don't want to hope they eventually get to finding that. We want to get that rolled out in the first 30 days. They're thriving, and then those customers are going to stick around while they're learning all the other amazing features and functions in the solution. So renewal is not an event. It's an outcome of consistent and aligned outcomes, early wins, adoption, and trust that are all baked in onboarding in the day one in the first 3 to 6 months. So you need to align teams around renewal outcomes. So you need the sales, onboarding, and success must share a single definition of what success looks like for that expansion and renewal readiness. You need to replace go live as a success metric with some first outcome achieved. And you need to build shared dashboards that visualize progress and any flags as you move towards these renewal predictors, and make sure that the handoffs are running seamlessly and the teams have aligned metrics so they're all working together. Then you build out internal and customer-facing assets to drive those behaviors at scale. The best companies start with the renewal in mind. They design onboarding around the outcomes that predict retention and expansion. The companies who win aren't the ones who onboard their customers the fastest, but the ones who onboard customers to lasting value that lead into a guaranteed renewal and expansion. So here's your challenge. Audit your onboarding process today and identify which steps influence the renewal and which don't. And if you'd like help with your audit, then let's chat. I have a customer onboarding assessment that can help you.